It's not for a lack of effort. It's
Right.
not for a lack of work ethic or anything like that. It was going to happen how it was going to happen.
In February 2025, WWE sent their future endeavors Grim Reaper around the locker room for another round of roster cuts.
Screw you! You're fired!
Among the names on the list was Sonya Deville. Believe it or not, Sonya was with the WWE for a decade in some capacity or another and was a regular on TV for most of it. It was a long, interesting, and sometimes scary ride for the real-life Daria Baronato, who left her mark on the WWE. You're watching Sportskeeda Wrestling, and today we're taking a look back at the career and sudden end of Sonya Deville in WWE. Baronato first found herself on WWE's radar as part of Tough Enough, despite being the third finalist eliminated from the Tough Enough series when it aired. Impressing quickly during her Performance Center training, she made some dark matches in August 2016, working a 6-woman tag team match alongside Alexa Bliss and Mandy Rose. She also did some work with the Iconics team of Billie Kay and Peyton Royce that year, before getting repackaged in early 2017. Now known as Sonya Deville, an intense fighter-inspired character, she made her debut in an NXT Women's Championship #1 Contenders Battle Royale. She then went on a mini tear in NXT Women's Division, picking up a couple of wins, including one against Lacey Evans, before disappearing from TV for a little while. When she returned, she didn't do much of note, bar the occasional half-hearted pursuit of a title opportunity. As 2017 drew to a close, the young and inexperienced Deville found herself heading up to WWE's main roster. Keeping her fighter-inspired gimmick and aligning herself with Mandy Rose and Paige, the group was later dubbed as Absolution. Deville made some casual women's wrestling history in 2018, competing in the first ever Women's Royal Rumble match and the first ever Women's Elimination Chamber match and the first ever Women's WrestleMania Battle Royal. It's important to note that Sonya was one of the few openly gay members of the WWE roster and the first openly gay women's wrestler to be employed. This means that she made double history every time she made history. Pretty cool. Deville and her partner Mandy Rose were drafted to SmackDown later that year. They ended their relationship with Paige but continued as a team throughout the year. A breakup was teased, but the partnership between Sonya and Mandy seemed to stay strong as Deville offered Mandy the final spot in a Money in the Bank ladder match. Sonya tried to climb the ladder on her friend's behalf, but the pair were unsuccessful. Soon though, the two friends would be at odds because something was coming. Something big. Something only known as Otis. Yeah, it's the Otis, Mandy Rose, Dolph Ziggler love triangle story again. Hooray! A true modern classic, wouldn't you say? In 2020, Heavy Machinery's Otis was sweet on Mandy Rose, protecting her and assisting her in matches, though his efforts were thwarted and the big man found himself unlucky in love, losing out to the heelish Dolph Ziggler as the storyline continued behind closed doors into the COVID lockdown. Eventually, Sonya Deville revealed she'd been working against Otis in aid of Ziggler. This led to a confrontation at WrestleMania 36, the WrestleMania that took place behind closed doors, and also the first two-night WrestleMania. Otis took on Ziggler, who was accompanied by Deville. The heel duo was defeated following a Mandy Rose intervention, and Otis and Mandy got their moment. He carried her out of there. It was all very sweet and ridiculous. This established a rivalry between Sonya and Mandy for the remainder of the year. However, a terrifying career. Deville fell victim to an attempted kidnapping at her home in 2020. The assailant stalked the WWE star and entered her property with the intention to kidnap her. The attacker was arrested at the time and pled guilty to attempted kidnapping, armed burglary, and aggravated stalking charges. He was sentenced to 15 years in prison for his heinous crimes in 2023. Sonya's originally planned hair versus hair match with Mandy Rose at SummerSlam 2020 was canceled, given that Deville's lawyer advised against her altering her appearance. They still fought at SummerSlam, but in a loser leaves WWE match instead. Mandy won and Sonya left, taking some much needed time off from wrestling. She broke her silence on the traumatic incident on the Talking with Natasha show for Fox 5 New York as recently as 2025. Summing it up, the former WWE star noted she'd finally got to a place of safety in her life. She said, quote, "I've secured my life to a place where I feel comfortable and safe for me and my family. It took a while to get there, obviously, but I feel like I'm at a place now where I feel comfortable with my lifestyle and where I'm at to be safe." End quote. Our deepest sympathies all around. Deville returned to WWE TV in January 2021 on New Year's Day. It wasn't an in-ring return, but she still saw regular TV time as an on-air authority figure, working as the assistant to SmackDown general manager Adam Pearce.
To WWE officials conducting official business, so see your way out.
It wouldn't be long before she stretched her reach to Monday Night Raw, acting as an authority unto herself without any arguments from Pearce on the matter. She was the generic heel authority figure, which is a true rite of passage for any self-respecting WWE superstar. Mick Foley wrestled in the main event of WrestleMania 2000 as the commissioner. Kurt Angle had a shot as GM in 2004 on SmackDown. William Regal did it twice, once in 2002 and again in 2008. AJ Lee did it in the early 2010s. It's not uncommon for a still active talent to take the role of an on-air authority figure. Sonya made herself a menace to the babyfaces of the WWE roster, especially the women. She reinstated suspended talents like Charlotte Flair and caused problems for the likes of Naomi and Bianca Belair. Deville used her backstage sway, returning to the ring in April 2022 and declaring herself Bianca Belair's next opponent, the Raw Women's Champion at the time, sneak attacking Bianca while pretending to make the announcement. Deville tried her best to stack the deck against Bianca, threatening the champ with fines and such, until Adam Pearce handed out a minimal fine of $1 to Bianca Belair and launched an investigation into Deville's behavior. This resulted in Sonya being stripped of her authority and returned to in-ring competition. She did not win the Raw Women's title and picked up a loss or two along the way. She did, however, get to reunite with her long-term frenemy Mandy Rose in a surprise NXT 2.0 appearance in October 2022, helping out Mandy's Toxic Attraction stable with Gigi Dolan and Jacy Jayne. They attacked NXT Women's title contender Alba Fire, putting her through an announce table. Following this, Sonya returned to the tag team division with a new partner, and that partner's name was Chelsea Green. Sorry, I know I definitely botched how I'm supposed to say that. They found themselves a permanent fixture on Monday Night Raw in 2023, courtesy of the oft-neglected WWE Draft. After this move, they competed in a tag team turmoil match with a WWE Women's Tag Team Championship opportunity at stake. Deville and Green were victorious in the match and got their first shot at the titles, held by Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez at the time. Later in July, Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green bested Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez to get their first taste of WWE Gold. Yep, this was Sonya's first and only WWE Championship accolade in her 10-year run, so you could say this was pretty well deserved for her. Not only that, but the team was a good pairing too. They complemented each other as a double act. At this point, they were quite similar in character, so it made sense that they would align with each other in storyline. The two meanest women on the WWE roster uniting to be mean. It took an unfortunate turn of events when Sonya Deville suffered a nasty injury just a short time after winning the titles. Tearing her ACL, she had to take a substantial amount of time away from the ring, taking her out of action for the remainder of 2023. Luckily, a returning Piper Niven was on hand, coming in as Chelsea Green's new partner, dubbing herself the other half of the women's tag champs, and no one was brave enough to disagree with her. The Chelsea Piper alliance is something that proved to be quite popular and still exists on WWE in 2025, with Piper still acting as Chelsea's muscle, notably during her run as WWE Women's United States Champion. Sonya Deville was off WWE TV until May 2024, but was reintroduced in backstage segments on Raw that also featured Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark. Deville proposed a union between the three women and was initially rejected. Eventually, Baszler and Stark gave in and took the former women's tag champ up on her offer. They formed the Pure Fusion Collective, a generic sort of heel stable, with a litany of tough members who went around acting tough, doing heel things, and not a great deal else. They were around, not doing that much, but it always seemed like WWE did have a plan for the trio. They used them just enough for fans to remember they existed, but not enough to tell any kind of story. They even featured in the 2025 Royal Rumble match in Indianapolis before being brought to an abrupt end. On her YouTube channel, Deville noted that her contract was being renegotiated, but WWE decided to release her instead, meaning that she departed the company on February 7th, 2025. On the podcast she shares with her wife, Daria and Tony Unwrapped, Deville went into greater detail on the release, saying, quote, "It's crazy. I'm still processing it, so I don't have all the answers yet. 10 of the coolest years of my life. I got to grow up in that world, and a lot of my ideologies and mentalities were shaped by that company, which are cool because it gave me more of a work ethic than I had. Time management skills, traveling all over the world and seeing the things with my friends. I had some of the best times ever. I've been to 50 countries, wrestled everywhere. It was so fun, but I've always known there were going to be different chapters of my life." End quote. Clearly very accepting of the release, expressing gratitude for everything she got to experience while working for WWE. Also stating that she had no regret regarding her run with the company and harbored no ill will or negative feelings for her former employers. Sonya did suggest that her wrestling career could be over, but confirmed nothing, stating that she wanted to take the time to decide what was the best path for she and her family, expressing her desire to explore the acting world, noting that she'd even booked some major work following her WWE departure. She summed up by talking about the knowledge, wisdom, and life experience she'd gotten from her decade-long stint with wrestling's top brand. Real-life challenges aside, Sonya Deville had an impressive run, all things considered. She got almost a decade of regular TV time, took part in some historic matches, acted as an authority figure, and won at least one title belt. If there was an issue that she faced during the run, it was her booking, and the way WWE presented her as a character, or lack thereof, as the case may be. She always just felt like she was there to round out the field, make up the numbers, because WWE wanted to expand their women's division during the era she broke through. But that's a little unfair because she had a legitimate background, showed some natural pro wrestling talent, and improved massively throughout her run. Unfortunately, she never felt important enough in the grand scheme of things to be put in the world title picture. That's not entirely Sonya's fault. WWE's entire portrayal of her character in the early days was that she was somewhat tough, but never tough enough, pun not intended, to be a legitimate threat to the main event women, but she could have been. She had a legitimate MMA record after all. It didn't help that in the later stages of her run, WWE's only focus with her character was that she was mean. Mean as an authority figure, and mean as a wrestler, but this was never really elaborated on. WWE never went beyond, and it made the Sonya Deville character one-dimensional. They did seem like they were planning something with the Pure Fusion Collective, which may have given Sonya some more development, but after her release, we're not going to see where it was going, if it was going anywhere at all. There was more to Sonya Deville than just these one or two personality traits, and WWE could have gotten more out of her, developed her, and given her some depth. All in all, a pretty good WWE tenure, especially for what it was. Sure, Sonya Deville never set the world on fire, but she was never given the opportunity to. She simply did the best job she could with the material she was given for as long as possible, and was clearly grateful for the opportunity. She took the opportunity she could get, climbed her way up, overcame some insane real-life hardship, and came back and won tag team gold. Sounds impressive to us. Sonya also got herself a spot on E-Series Total Divas during its 9th season, and started a donut company of all things alongside her former tag team partner and real-life friend, Mandy Rose. The company, Da Mandy Donuts, still operates from Los Angeles, California. Sonya was only 31 years old at the time of her WWE release. getting her start in the company, which means she's got a lot of time left to explore avenues before she makes her final decision on that wrestling return. Seriously, a wrestler only needs to be gone for 45 seconds before we're all theorizing when, where, and how they might return. So who knows where Sonya Deville might show up in a few years' time. And that's it for another video. Are you going to miss Sonya Deville? What was your favorite moment from her WWE run? Let us know in the comments section down below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Sportskeeda Wrestling to see more content like this. Thank you for watching,